How you interpret the golden chain of redemption?
Well, number one, I don't call Romans 8, 29, and 30 the golden chain of anything except the golden chain of eisegetical pishposh. Because
put that on a
what
t-shirt.
People mean by golden chain of redemption is here's the golden chain of how an individual is determined in eternity past to become a Christian convert. Paul's not on about that at all, right? So here are your interpretive possibilities here, okay? I think the most likely explanation in my mind is those that God knew before now, those who he knew before.
You don't hear this interpretation
now
often.
At the time of Paul's writing, those who God knew before, he also predestined them to be conformed. So he's talking about the saints in the Old Testament. I think Leighton Flowers is promoting this, and I think that this is probably the most likely interpretation. The second most likely interpretation is the Witherington explanation. So in verse 18 you say, I don't compare the present sufferings to be, compared to the glory that is to come. Well, when that glory has come, it's a backwards looking. Those who knew before the glory, those were the ones predestined, called, justified, and glorified. So it's a looking backwards from the end. This is something that Ben Witherington is one popularizer of this. This is the second most likely, that it's a look back from the end when the glory had come. And that's why you can get all the way through from foreknown to glorified, because it's looking back on that. By the way, here's that bonus for you. People say Romans chapter 8 talks about the redemption of the bodies. Romans chapter 8 is not using glorified to mean glorified body, right? Bodies aren't called, bodies aren't justified, so why do you say, and then the glorification, that's the thing to the body. No, persons are foreknown, persons are predestined, persons are called, persons are justified, and persons are glorified. Not just bodies, persons. It's an honor term, okay? Highly, honored is another way you could say that, okay? So the first most, he's talking about saints prior to Paul's writing. Second most likely, Witherington's right, it's a looking backward from the end. The third most likely is he's talking about those he foreknew was in a galaxy long time ago, far, far away, and he was talking about Chewbacca and Han Solo. And then past that, the least likely is the Calvinist interpretation.
I like the interpretation that says that Chewbacca and Han Solo are saved.
That's still more, Paul was talking about that as more likely than the Reformed, that God in eternity past. Paul says nothing about eternity past in Romans, doesn't say a word about it. Not interested in that. You want that, you go to Ephesians. But maybe, for Catabalist College, may not even mean before logically prior to the temporary. We don't even know. That can be debated. But
I like that you're still looking at your camera.
It's nowhere near Paul's thought in Romans, by the way.
You're still looking at your camera.
I forgot an interpretation. I think before Chewbacca and Han Solo, but okay, so you've got the saints in the past, you've got the looking back from the end, then you've got the Arminian. That's got some early support in the church fathers, that the foreknown faith. I think that's unlikely. Not as unlikely as Chewbacca and Han, but yet both of those are still more likely than the Calvinist interpretation. So there you go.